The frozen encounter. The storm raged across the frozen world. Icy winds cutting like knives, a lone human figure stumbled through the snow, his breath forming clouds in the air. His name was Captain Ryan Hale, a stranded explorer. His ship damaged during entry into the planet's violent atmosphere. Every step felt heavier as snow piled around his boots. He knew if he did not find shelter soon, he would freeze. Suddenly, faint through the howling wind, he heard a voice. It was weak, trembling, almost lost in the storm. "Help, please, someone." Ryan froze, unsure if the wind was playing tricks on him. But then he heard it again, a desperate cry. "Please, I'm freezing." He followed the sound, pushing against the storm. His visor fogged, his body shaking, but he pressed on. Then he saw a small figure collapsed in the snow. It was not human. The skin was pale blue and faintly glowing with strange patterns that shimmered like ice crystals. Long silver hair was spread across the snow, and delicate hands trembled violently. She looked so fragile that even the storm itself seemed ready to shatter her. Ryan's instincts screamed caution. He was alone on an unknown planet, facing an unknown species. But his human heart could not ignore the sight. He knelt beside her, brushing snow from her face. Her eyes fluttered open, bright violet. Filled with pain and fear, she whispered, "Please, human, hold me, or I will die." Ryan hesitated, confusion filling his mind. How did she know the word human? How did she speak his language? Her voice was weak, breaking, but every word carried desperate need. Her body trembled harder, the glow of her skin dimming as if her life was slipping away. He pulled out his thermal scanner. The reading shocked him. Her body temperature was dropping dangerously fast. If he did nothing, she would not survive another minute. Against every warning in his training, Ryan unsealed his survival blanket and wrapped it around both of them. He held her close, sharing his body heat. At first, she was stiff, but then slowly she relaxed against him, whispering again, "Warm. Thank you." Human, the connection startled him. Her skin was cold, yet the glow of her body pulsed with warmth as it touched his. It felt alive, like energy flowing between them. Ryan had never experienced anything like it. The storm still howled outside, but in that moment, he felt something stranger than fear. It was as if fate had placed this fragile alien girl in his arms for a reason. She clung to him weakly, her hands gripping his jacket. Tears formed in her glowing eyes, freezing as they slid down her cheeks. "I was left here to die," she whispered. Her voice cracking, Ryan's jaw tightened. The words sent a chill deeper than the storm ever could. Who would abandon someone like this? He adjusted the blanket tighter around them. "You are safe now," he said softly. But inside his heart, he wondered if he was speaking the truth. He was stranded, his ship broken, and now he had a dying alien to protect. Still, he knew one thing for certain. He would not let her die alone. Minutes passed, though they felt like hours. Her breathing steadied slightly, though she still shook violently. She looked at him again with wide, fearful eyes. "You are human. The others. They said humans are dangerous. But you are warm," she whispered. Ryan gave a small, tired smile. "Humans can be many things," he said, "but right now, I am your only chance." Her lips trembled into something like a smile. "Then I choose to trust you," she whispered before her eyes closed again. Ryan's heart pounded. The words were soft, but they carried a weight he did not understand yet. Trust on a frozen world. Between two strangers of different worlds, the storm grew darker. Shadows of movement flickering beyond the snow. Ryan pulled her closer, his senses sharp. Something was out there. Watching, waiting, the girl shivered again, murmuring weakly, "They will come for me. They will not stop." Ryan's grip tightened. He did not know who they were, but he knew one thing, when and if they came, they would have to go through him first. The frozen encounter was no accident. He could feel it deep inside. This was the beginning of something larger, something that would change not just his life, but perhaps the galaxy itself. And as the alien girl clung to him with her fading strength, Ryan whispered into the storm, "You are not alone anymore." The desperate plea. The night grew darker. The storm still screamed across the frozen wasteland. Ryan carried the alien girl in his arms, his legs heavy in the snow. Her body was wrapped in the survival blanket. But her trembling did not stop. Each step he took was filled with doubt, but he refused to leave her behind. She stirred weakly, her violet eyes opening halfway. Her lips moved, her voice soft, almost broken. "Human, please." Do not let me go." Ryan looked down at her pale, glowing face. The desperation in her voice was more powerful than the storm itself. "I won't," he said firmly. "You are safe with me." But her eyes darted around the icy horizon, filled with fear. "They will come," she whispered. "They always come," Ryan frowned, his instincts sharpening. This was no simple accident. She was not just a lost wanderer. Something far more dangerous was chasing her. And now, by saving her, he had stepped into their path too. He reached the wreck of his small shuttle. Half buried in ice, the ship's systems flickered weakly, life support barely holding on. Inside, it was warmer than the storm outside. Though still bitterly cold, Ryan laid her gently on the padded bench, securing the blanket around her. Her breathing was uneven, but her eyes followed him as if she feared he might vanish. "Who are you?" Ryan asked quietly. The alien girl hesitated, her lips trembling before she answered. "My name is Liara," she whispered. "I am the last hope of my house." Her words made little sense to Ryan, but her tone carried truth and weight. She coughed, her fragile body shaking again. "Please, human, hold me. I cannot survive without your warmth." Ryan felt a conflict rising inside him. He was a soldier, an explorer, trained to be cautious. But here was a girl, alien and fragile, begging for something so simple: warmth, safety, trust. Her glowing hands reached weakly toward him. The pleading in her eyes was something he could not ignore. He sat beside her, wrapping the blanket over them both once more. She pressed close, her trembling body seeking every bit of heat. Her breath was shallow, her voice a faint whisper. "You are warm. Like fire, no one from my world could save me. Only you, human." Ryan felt her words like a knife, cutting through the storm outside and into his chest. This was more than survival. This was a bond forming in the harshest moment of her life. Liara's eyes glowed faintly as she spoke again. "They said humans were cruel, dangerous, careless," she whispered. Her words broke apart as if even speaking was painful. "But you hold me. You protect me. Why?" Ryan looked into her glowing eyes and answered simply, "Because no one deserves to die alone in the snow." Tears formed in her eyes, glowing softly as they slid down her frozen cheeks. She pressed her forehead against his chest, her voice breaking. "Then I belong to you, human. If I live, I am yours, forever." Ryan froze at her words. He could not understand the weight behind them, but he felt it. Something ancient, something binding was hidden in that vow. The ship groaned as icy winds battered against the hull. Ryan checked his scanners. A warning flashed. Energy signatures approaching fast. Multiple ships, small but armed, sweeping across the frozen wasteland. His heart pounded. This was not a rescue team. These were hunters, the ones she had feared. The ones chasing her. Liara's eyes widened, terror flooding her fragile face. "They found me," she whispered, clutching him tighter. "Human, please. Do not let them take me." Her fingers dug into his jacket. Her body shaking harder, Ryan pulled her close, his mind racing. He had little power, little weaponry. But he had his determination, and in that moment, he knew he could not hand her over. No matter who they were. He brushed her hair gently back, forcing her to look into his eyes. "I gave you my word," he said firmly. "I will protect you, no matter what comes." Her lips parted, trembling. "You would fight. For me?" she whispered in disbelief. Ryan's jaw tightened, his voice steady. "I already am." Outside, through the storm, the shadows of alien ships circled like predators. Inside the broken shuttle, a fragile bond of trust had been sealed. Liara pressed her glowing hand against his chest again. "Then we are bound," she whispered, "by my vow, and by your warmth." Ryan did not know what that vow meant in her world, but deep inside he felt something powerful had just begun. The desperate plea was no longer only about survival. It was about trust, about a connection neither of them understood yet. And as the hunters closed in, Ryan realized the storm outside was nothing compared to the storm about to come. Secrets in the snow. The storm finally began to ease, though the air remained deadly cold. Ryan adjusted the controls of his broken shuttle, trying to keep the systems alive. The heat generators were weak, flickering, but enough to keep Liara from freezing. She lay close against him, her breathing steadier now, though her violet eyes still held fear. Outside, faint lights cut through the swirling snow, alien ships searching the frozen wasteland, their engines growling in the distance. Ryan's jaw tightened. He knew they would find his shuttle sooner or later, but before he could act, Liara spoke again, her voice low and trembling. "You must know the truth, human," she whispered. Ryan turned to her, his eyes sharp. "What truth?" he asked. Liara hesitated, her glowing hands clutching the blanket tighter. "I am not just a wanderer," she said slowly. "I am the daughter of House Serenia." The name meant nothing to Ryan, but the weight of her tone told him it mattered. Her eyes shimmered with tears as she continued. "My family ruled part of the Syndicate worlds," she whispered, "but there was betrayal." Her voice cracked, pain and anger lacing every word. "My own kin. They sent assassins. They abandoned me here to die in the storm." Ryan's chest tightened, the pieces falling into place. This was no random girl, no lost traveler. She was someone powerful, someone others wanted erased. And by saving her, he had stepped directly into a galactic struggle he barely understood. Liara clutched his arm with desperate strength. "Human, they cannot take me back," she pleaded. "If they do, I am already dead." Her words struck deep. She had no army, no allies, only him, a lone human stranded on an alien world. And yet she looked at him as if he was the only shield she had left. Ryan's instincts told him to stay silent, but his heart refused. "You are safe with me," he said firmly, his voice steady. Liara's lips trembled into the faintest smile, her violet eyes glowing softly. "No one has ever said those words to me before," she whispered. "Not even my own family." The storm outside roared again, the hunter's ships circling closer. Ryan checked his scanners. Their energy signatures were strong, too strong for his damaged shuttle. If they attacked, he could not hold them off for long. But before he could plan, Liara's hand pressed against his chest again. Her touch was faint, but her glow spread, flowing into him like warmth through ice. He flinched, startled by the sensation. "What are you doing?" he asked. Liara's eyes half closed, her voice soft. "It is the bond," she whispered, "a gift of my people. When life is saved, a vow is made. Energy is shared." Ryan's heart pounded. He felt it. His body was warmer, his strength steadier, as if she was giving part of herself to him. Her fragile form still trembled, but her eyes locked with his, filled with unspoken trust. "You do not understand, human," she said, her voice urgent. "If you protect me, if you choose me, we are bound forever." Ryan's breath caught, the weight of her words heavy in the frozen air. Forever, she had said. Not days, not years, but a vow that stretched across lifetimes. He wanted to question, to protest, but there was no time. The shuttle shook violently, alarms flashing. Huntercraft had found them, their weapons locking onto his position. Liara gasped, fear flooding her glowing eyes. "They are here," she whispered, clutching his arm. Ryan grabbed his rifle and glanced at her, his voice calm but fierce. "Stay low, stay quiet. I will handle this." She shook her head, tears forming. "You cannot fight them all, human. They will kill you." Ryan gave her a tight smile. "Then they will have to try," he replied. The first blast struck the ice outside, shaking the shuttle walls. Ryan steadied himself, adrenaline surging. He knew his weapons were no match for their firepower, but he had something they did not. Human resolve, the same stubborn will that had kept him alive through every storm, every battle, every impossible mission. Liara pressed her forehead against his chest one last time, whispering through tears, "If you fall, I will not survive either. Because I am yours now." Her words were both a vow and a curse, binding them together under the frozen sky. Ryan's heart burned as he gripped his weapon. The hunters closed in, but he was ready. Secrets had been revealed, truths laid bare. This was no longer just about survival in the snow. It was about loyalty, trust, and a bond that defied reason. And as the ice cracked beneath the hunter's landing gear, Ryan whispered through clenched teeth, "Then let them come. The hunters arrive." The shuttle rattled under another blast, ice and snow spraying across the hull. Ryan braced himself, gripping his rifle tightly. Through the frosted viewport, shadows moved. 3 sleek alien crafts circling low, their lights cutting across the frozen storm. The hunters had arrived and they were closing in. Liara clung to his arm, her violet eyes wide with terror. "They will tear this place apart," she whispered, her voice trembling. Her glow flickered faintly, as if her fear dimmed her strength. Ryan placed a hand on her shoulder, steady and firm. "Stay hidden, stay alive," he said. "I'll hold them off." The shuttle groaned as the hunters fired again, the ground shaking. Panels sparked overhead, snow falling through cracks in the hull. Ryan moved to the door, his heart pounding but his steps steady. He knew the odds were impossible, yet something inside him refused to back down. The hatch opened, cold wind and snow rushing in like knives. Ryan stepped out into the frozen storm. His rifle raised, 3 figures emerged from the swirling snow. Tall, armored, their helmets glowing with alien tech, their weapons crackled with energy, their stance confident, like predators closing on prey. One of them spoke through a deep mechanical voice. "Step aside, human, the girl is ours." Ryan's jaw tightened, his voice cutting through the storm. "She's not going anywhere with you." The hunters laughed, their voices echoing through the icy air. "A lone human, broken ship, no allies." One sneered. "You cannot stop us," another hissed, their weapon pointed at his chest. Ryan didn't flinch. "Try me," he said coldly. The first blast came fast, searing the snow beside him. Ryan dove behind a ridge of ice, his rifle firing back. The sound of human steel against alien power cracked across the wasteland. One hunter stumbled, surprised by the accuracy of Ryan's shot. "Impossible," he growled. "Humans are not this skilled." Ryan's breath steamed in the cold air as he shifted position. His mind moved faster than their weapons, calculating angles, using the storm as cover. Every movement was survival, every shot a message. Humans did not give up. Liara watched from the shuttle doorway, tears forming in her glowing eyes. Her voice shook as she whispered, "He fights. For me." The hunters regrouped, spreading out in the snow. Ryan's rifle hummed with energy, but he knew the power cell was draining fast. One mistake, one pause, and it would all be over. He gritted his teeth, determination burning hotter than the icy winds. Suddenly one hunter rushed forward, blade of plasma igniting in his hand. Ryan rolled aside, barely escaping the strike. His counter shot hit the hunter's shoulder, sparks flying as the armor cracked. The alien roared in pain, staggering back. Ryan pressed forward, firing again, forcing them onto defense. The leader of the hunters snarled, his voice sharp with rage. "This is no ordinary human," he spat. Ryan smirked through the storm. "You're right about that," he growled. But even as he fought, he knew he couldn't hold them forever. Their numbers, their firepower, it was only a matter of time. Liara's heart pounded as she pressed her glowing hands together, her body weak, yet her vow to him stronger than her fear. She whispered ancient words, her glow growing brighter. Energy swirled faintly from her palms, a secret power her kind rarely revealed. The hunters noticed, their helmets turning toward her light. "The air still lives," one shouted. "Capture her at all costs." Another barked, rushing toward the shuttle. Ryan's blood ran cold, his eyes widening as he realized their target was no longer him. It was her. With a burst of speed, Ryan threw himself in front of the hunter charging at the shuttle. Their weapons clashed, his rifle against the alien's blade, sparks cutting through the storm. The hunter snarled, strength pushing him back. Ryan's boots slid across the ice, but he refused to fall. Behind him, Liara screamed, "Human!" her voice echoing like thunder across the frozen wasteland. Her glow flared brighter, her energy spilling into him. Ryan felt it surge through his chest, into his arms, into his weapon. His rifle lit up, energy crackling stronger than before. With one desperate strike, he blasted the hunter off his feet, the snow exploding with light. The battlefield fell silent for a breath. The other hunters hesitated, shocked by what they had just seen. Ryan gasped for air, his hands trembling. He looked back at Liara, her glowing form leaning weakly against the shuttle door. She whispered faintly, You are mine, human, and I am yours. Our bond gives you my strength. Ryan realized then this fight was no longer just his. Their fates were tied, their survival bound together. The hunters regrouped, more cautious now, their leader raising his weapon again. But Ryan stood taller, his rifle blazing with a strange new energy. The storm around them seemed to fade as he whispered to himself, "They'll have to go through both of us." And with that, the battle truly began. Ooh! Fire in the storm. The frozen battlefield burned with sudden fire. Lasers cut through the blizzard, melting snow into steam. The hunters pressed forward, their weapons blazing, their voices sharp with fury. But Ryan stood his ground, rifle in hand, his breath steady, his eyes unyielding. Liara's glow pulsed behind him, faint but steady. Her strength flowed into him like fire through frozen veins. It was not just warmth, it was power. A bond unlike anything he had ever known. Every shot he fired now burned brighter, every movement sharper, as if her life force guided his hands. The hunters roared as one fell to his knees, sparks flying from broken armor. Another circled wide, trying to flank him through the storm. Ryan's instincts caught it instantly. His rifle turning, the blast struck true, forcing the hunter back. "Impossible!" the leader spat. "A human cannot fight like this." Ryan smirked coldly, his voice firm. "Then you don't know humans." The storm thickened again, snow and fire colliding in a deadly dance. Ryan moved fast, using ridges of ice for cover, forcing the hunters into mistakes. They were stronger, faster. But they relied on numbers and arrogance. He relied on grit, on instinct, and on the bond with the fragile alien girl who had chosen him. Inside the shuttle, Liara pressed her glowing hands against the wall. Whispers of her ancient language filled the cabin. Her energy surged outward, mixing with the storm. The snow swirled faster, the winds twisting around Ryan like a shield. The hunters cursed, their aim thrown off. Their vision blurred. Ryan realized what she was doing. She was helping him, not with weapons, not with firepower, but with her very essence together. They turned the storm itself into an ally. For every shot the hunters fired, the blizzard swallowed it. For every step they took, the ice cracked beneath them, and through it all Ryan advanced. Fearless, relentless, but the hunters were not weak. Their leader snarled, raising his arm, and a beacon shot into the sky. A piercing red flare cut through the clouds. Moments later, more energy signatures appeared on Ryan's scanner. Reinforcements, larger ships, heavier weapons. Liara gasped from inside, her voice breaking. "They called more, human, if they catch us. We will not survive," Ryan cursed under his breath. His mind racing, he fired another burst, pushing the hunters back, then darted toward the shuttle. Liara was waiting, her eyes wide with fear but filled with trust. He grabbed her hand, his voice urgent but steady. "Hold on, we're leaving." The shuttle groaned as he powered up the failing engines. Warning lights screamed across the console, systems flickering red. The hunters fired at the hull, sparks flying, the storm shaking around them. "Come on," Ryan growled, forcing the engines to roar. The shuttle lifted, trembling violently, ice shattering beneath. The hunters shouted in rage, their weapons blazing. Bolts tore through the storm, one striking the wing, flames bursting across the side. Liara cried out, clutching Ryan's arm. He gritted his teeth, pulling the shuttle higher into the storm. The sky above turned into chaos, alien crafts circling, weapons locking onto them. The shuttle twisted left and right, Ryan forcing it through impossible maneuvers. Lasers seared past, explosions of light in the blizzard. The ship shook as another blast clipped the hull, alarms screaming. But Ryan pushed harder, his hand steady on the controls. Every instinct, every ounce of human stubbornness driving him forward. Liara's glow brightened beside him, her voice soft but steady. "You cannot win this way, human, but you can outthink them." Ryan glanced at her, his jaw tight. "What do you mean?" She pressed her glowing hand to the console, her energy flowing into the ship. "The storm bends for me. Guide us through it, and I will hide us from their eyes." Ryan didn't question. He trusted. He plunged the shuttle into the heart of the blizzard. Snow and lightning wrapped around them, the ship nearly vanishing from sight. The hunters fired blindly, their beams lost in the storm, their scanners scrambled, their voices sharp with frustration. "Where are they?" "Find them!" Inside, Ryan held the controls steady as Liara's glow expanded. The ship shimmered faintly, its outline blurring into the storm itself. The hunters flew past, chasing shadows, their weapons wasted on empty snow. Ryan exhaled slowly, sweat on his brow. "We're still alive," he muttered. Liara leaned against him, her voice faint. "Because we are together, human. Without you, I would already be gone." Her words sank deep into his chest. The storm outside still roared. The hunters still searched. But inside that fragile shuttle, a vow stronger than fear was alive. Ryan tightened his grip on the controls, determination burning in his eyes. He whispered into the storm, "They're not finished hunting, and I'm not finished fighting." The bond eternal. The shuttle drifted deeper into the storm, its engines weak but still alive. Ryan's hands shook on the controls, sweat sliding down his brow. Every warning light blinked red. Yet the ship held together behind him. The storm roared like a living creature, swallowing the hunters' ships one by one. Liara leaned against him, her breathing shallow, her glow dimming. She had given too much of herself to shield them. Her violet eyes fluttered as if she was close to losing consciousness. Ryan placed a hand on her shoulder, steadying her. "Stay with me, Liara," he whispered. His voice low but firm, her lips parted, her voice fragile but filled with weight. "Human, you do not understand what I have done." Ryan frowned, his focus split between the storm and her trembling form. "What do you mean?" he asked. Liara's glowing hand slid slowly to her chest, pressing over her heart. "The vow of my people," she whispered. "It is not just words. It is eternal." Ryan's chest tightened. "Eternal?" he asked, unsure of her meaning. Her glowing eyes lifted to meet his, shimmering with both fear and devotion. "When one of my kind is saved, when we bind ourselves to that savior, we give more than trust," she said, her voice breaking. "We give our life, our strength, our future." Ryan froze, her words sinking into him like stone into deep water. "You mean," he started, but his throat closed. Liara nodded weakly, her breath fogging the air. "If you fall, I fall. If you live, I live. Our souls are tied, human." Her fingers clutched his arm tightly, desperate, pleading. "There is no breaking it. Not by time, not by distance, not by death." Silence filled the shuttle. Only the hum of weak engines and the storm outside remained. Ryan's heart pounded, his mind racing. He had saved lives before. He had fought battles before. But never had his choices meant this much. Never had his survival been bound to another's so completely. Liara's lips trembled, her eyes shimmering with tears. "You should hate me for this," she whispered. "You never chose it. I forced it upon you." Her tears glowed faintly as they fell onto his arm, freezing instantly in the cold air. Ryan shook his head, his jaw tightening. "Hate you?" he said sharply. "You are alive because of me, and I'm alive because of you." "That doesn't sound like a curse to me," her breath caught, her tears falling faster. "No one has ever spoken such words to me," she whispered. Her voice cracked, but there was light in her eyes. "You do not understand, human, in my world. A vow like this is sacred, unbreakable." And feared. Ryan leaned closer, his voice steady. "Then let them fear it," he said. "I don't care about their rules. I care about keeping you alive." Liara pressed her glowing forehead against his chest, her voice soft. "Then I am yours, now and forever," she whispered. Ryan's throat tightened, his heart heavy with both fear and determination. He did not fully understand what forever meant to her, but he knew he could not abandon her. The storm outside began to fade, revealing the sky above far beyond the clouds. Faint lights glittered, more hunters, larger ships searching for them. Liara's grip tightened on his arm, her voice trembling. "They will not stop, human, not until I am dead, or until they capture me." Ryan's jaw hardened, his eyes narrowing at the sight. "Then they'll have to go through me," he said coldly. Liara's violet eyes glowed brighter, her tears drying. "You speak like no other I have known," she whispered. "Humans. You are not weak, not cruel, not what they told us." Ryan gave a small, tired smile, his voice rough but certain. "We're stubborn, that's all. Too stubborn to let go." The ship shuddered, its engines struggling. Ryan knew they could not fight forever. But as he looked at her, and fragile, glowing, bound to him by a vow older than stars, he knew he would never surrender. If their lives were tied together, then he would carry her with him through every storm, through every fire, through every battle. Liara's eyes closed as she whispered one last time, "My strength is yours, human. Take it, use it, and we will endure." Her glow spread faintly across the shuttle, flowing into the consoles, the walls, the engines themselves. Ryan gasped as the system surged, the ship stabilizing for the first time since it had crashed. The bond was no longer only between them. It had become part of the ship itself. Ryan looked out at the hunters circling in the distance. His hands clenched the controls tighter. They thought they were chasing prey. But they had no idea what they were really facing, because now, it was no longer just one human, no longer just one alien girl. It was a bond eternal. A force neither side fully understood yet, and Ryan whispered through gritted teeth as he turned the shuttle toward the enemy. Forever means we fight together. Forever in the stars. The storm broke at last, revealing a sky filled with stars and shadows of alien warships above. Dozens of hunter craft circled like predators. Their lights sharp and merciless, Ryan tightened his grip on the controls, the shuttle shaking under the strain of its renewed engines. Beside him, Liara's glow pulsed faintly, her energy still flowing into the ship, her violet eyes opened, weak but steady. "They brought the fleet," she whispered, her voice trembling. Ryan's gaze hardened as he looked at the countless ships blotting out the heavens. "They think we're trapped," he muttered, his tone like steel. The hunters broadcast their demand across the frozen sky. "Surrender the air, human, and we will let you live," the leader's voice thundered. Ryan gave a cold smile, his jaw set. "You don't know humans very well," he replied under his breath. The shuttle burst upward, engines roaring with newfound strength. Lasers lanced through the air, explosions lighting the night. Ryan twisted the ship through impossible angles, human reflexes pushing the shuttle where no alien dared. Hunters chased, their weapons tearing through the storm. But Ryan outpaced them, every move guided not only by his skill, but by Liara's glowing energy, their bond beating like a second heart. Liara leaned close, her voice faint but fierce. "They cannot be defeated by strength alone, human. But they can be shown fear," Ryan smirked, his hands steady. "Then let's give them something to fear," he growled. The shuttle dove low. Skimming across jagged cliffs of ice, hunters followed, their crafts crashing into walls of frozen stone as Ryan outmaneuvered them. The storm bent around him, guided by Liara's whispering voice. Winds howled like blades, snow twisted into shields. For every hunter that fired, another was swallowed by the wrath of the frozen world. But more ships arrived, the sky thick with enemy lights. Ryan's heart pounded. They could not fight forever. Then, as if answering the impossible, the stars above shifted. Massive shadows loomed on the horizon, shapes that dwarfed even the hunter's fleet. Liara gasped, her eyes wide with disbelief. "It cannot be," she whispered. Ryan looked at the scanners. Colossal ships entering orbit. Human warships. An entire Terran battle group, responding to the distress beacon his shuttle had sent when it first crashed. The hunters hesitated, their confidence shattering as the human fleet descended. Colossal cannons lit the skies, beams of fire ripping through alien craft. Ryan's chest swelled with pride at the sight. "You thought I was alone," he muttered, his voice cold and sharp. But no human is ever truly alone. The battlefield turned into chaos, human and hunter ships colliding in fire and steel. Ryan pushed his shuttle higher, weaving through the crossfire. Liara's glow brightened, her hand gripping his tightly. "You are not just my savior," she whispered. "You are the proof my people were wrong about yours." A final hunter ship locked onto them, its weapons burning with deadly light. Ryan's eyes narrowed, his voice steady. "Not today," he said. The shuttle dove straight toward the hunter, impossible speed tearing through the sky. At the last moment, Ryan pulled up, his cannons firing. The blast tore the hunter apart, flames scattering into the night. Silence fell for a brief moment, broken only by the distant thunder of the battle above. Liara leaned against him, her body weak but her eyes glowing. Her voice shook as she whispered, "You chose me, human, and now I am yours. Forever." Ryan looked at her, his heart heavy yet resolute. "I didn't just choose you, Liara," he said softly. "We chose each other above them." The human fleet broke the hunters, driving them into retreat. The syndicate forces fled into the dark of space. Their pride shattered, their hunt ended. But the galaxy had seen something no one expected. A human and an alien royal bound together by survival, by trust, by an eternal vow. The Terran fleet hailed Ryan's shuttle, their voices filled with relief and shock. "Captain Hale, we've got you." "Prepare for docking." Ryan smiled faintly, his body exhausted but his spirit unbroken. He looked at Liara, her glow reflecting in the dim cabin. "You hear that? We're safe now," he whispered, but Liara shook her head gently, her voice filled with solemn truth. "No, human, this is only the beginning." Her eyes gleamed with both hope and fear. "When the galaxy learns I am bound to you, everything will change." Ryan's chest tightened, but he didn't look away. "Then let it change," he said firmly. "We'll face it together." And as the shuttle rose into the stars, surrounded by fire, war, and endless possibility, Liara rested her head against his chest, her voice soft but unshaken. "Forever, human, forever in the stars."